Welcome to London, Ontario, a city of history and transition. From a beer perspective, it has long been defined by a single brewery, and the craft brewery boom was late to emerge here. But good beer emerged out of the masses, and there's a thriving scene here with highly passionate and friendly brewers and owners wanting to bust out of the small town mentality. It's a slightly isolated city, as evidenced by its reputation as a test market that sits in between the Toronto and Windsor-Detroit areas, whose sports fans are split between the two metropolises. And with a large urban footprint, you need to know where to look for good beer, and we're here to help. Let's have a quick beer in London. Downtown London has seen its share of ups and downs over the years and is currently undergoing a major revitalization. It's a bit touch and go in spots, but find your way to Talbot and Carling, and there's a bright beer beacon at the corner with Pub Milos and Beerlab. Milos Kral has been in the middle of the London beer scene for years, advocating for good beer lists at different pubs before opening up his namesake bar, one that stands up against anything in Ontario.
What was it like in London back in those early days, beer-wise? It was
abysmal. I started in Chaucer's. I was looking around trying to find something different. And I remember this guy, he passed it. His name was Rich College. I'm now repping with Holland Specialty Beer Company. Rich, that's Labata. Not interested. And I'm walking away from him and he said, oh, we have these Belgians.
yeah.
What? I go to him and say, you have Belgians? Do you have any Lambics? Actually we do. We have Bellevue Creek. I said, do you have any Abbey beers? We have Left Blonde, Blue. I said, sit down.
Sign me up. So when did you see London change? Where it's going for the better, beer-wise?
I would put it this way. So when I started in Chaucer's around, say, 2000, 2003, 4, I remember I found Peter Lopati and got a case of Chimay Blue from him.
Sure.
And we were flabbergasted. 5 years later, ended up in the market at Chancy Smith's that we eventually renamed Gambrinus. We built bottle list. It was 150 bottles strong. It was 3 legal size pages of bottled beer, and we sold loads of it.
It was amazing.
We sold loads of Southern Tier. Their IPAs.
Oh, I remember Southern Tier. Yeah, man, they're still amazing.
In 2012, we came here. I ordered some Southern Tier beers. By the time they got here, we started to see enough of interesting beer, Ontario beers on tap.
Yeah.
And the bottle sales went down. I come to work and same. Dudley, who bought the Chancy's from Mike Smith, and with him we changed the name to Gambrinus, and so he sold it to somebody. 2 weeks later, April 14th, we're out of the place, we're unemployed. I said, okay, I want to open my own place. And 6 weeks to a day. In 6 weeks, I found this place, negotiated sort of the terms, and took over. It must be world record, at least in Ontario. We just put a little note on social media saying we're opening. And there was about 30, 40 people standing outside waiting for us to open. We opened, by 5 o'clock we were packed. And it stayed open, stayed packed till 2 a.m. and people were coming in and they were like, oh my God, we're so happy you're back. They were throwing cash at my staff, just saying, take it, we're so happy you're here.
So how would you talk about your place?
You're local, you're downtown local.
Because you're different than everything else around here. I walked all day up and down this street, and you know what? There's nothing like this.
I was really never good in following other people's ideas. So this really reflects who I am and my belief and my philosophy. It's my own, if you will, fucked up version of European local. Right? No streaming music, no TV, no news and no sports. 2 things that people fight over and get upset over all the time. So this is the oasis. Come on down here to meet with your friends or sit on the bar on your own, enjoy good food and good beer. When I came to London in '95, Indra, who started Marienbad, I started there part-time while I was looking for a job. And he convinced me, sort of said, hey, stay. I'm gonna sell it to you one day and you can take over. So I stuck it out. Eventually he sold it to somebody else, and as I learned, through back channels, he didn't think I had in me what it takes to own a place and run it successfully. There were so many people, I had no money. I'm a goddamn immigrant. No, man, that's not gonna fly. No, that's silly. No. So eventually I got here, I opened my own place, and it started to do well right from the beginning, and it grew. And suddenly the same people are coming and say, hey, you wanna do business together? I said, I already have a business, thank you very much.
Beerlab, located a door from Pub Milos, is a compact, innovative, and exciting brewery that enhances the experience in downtown London. Its proprietors are Baird and Adil Ahmad, whom I affectionately like to think of as the beer mayor and beer doctor of London, with their obvious local connections, influence, and knowledge. It has an innovative menu with a focus on IPAs, lagers, and sours, and is a lively community hub with many locals stopping by regularly. It's a must visit.
Dr. Brewer.
Just a regular guy.
Just a regular guy.
This is not true.
Yeah, it absolutely is true. That's the best part. Is that
Regular guy.
we can be brewers can be regular people, docs
Yeah.
can be regular
Yeah.
people, and then
This is
like,
fair.
We have so many physicians and professionals who drink and hang out here.
Yeah, there's
On-
tons of residents. and
Honestly, it's
physicians
a wonderful thing because they just want to
and professionals who hang out.
Yeah.
You're saying hi to basically everybody that walks by. I mean, like, that's really cool. That, like,
community hub, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you start up conversations. I ask you after you've done a conversation with somebody. I'm like, man, how long have you known that guy? He's like 30 seconds
Yeah,
before he
just
walked
now.
in the door. And it's like, and it's wonderful because like that's the way Adil is, especially you make everybody feel like welcome and at home and all that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. So,
it's really great to see. Like,
Yeah.
this place kind of blossom.
hey guys,
Come on in.
come on in.
How we doing?
Been a while.
Doing nice?
Over in Old South is Stormstate, located in an urban strip mall, which would be easy to miss if you weren't paying attention. But it's worth a visit, an airy and arty taproom with a wide range of beers from lager to IPA, plus slushies and milkshakes to keep it fun.
We've been brewing now for over 5 years, and our brewing philosophy at Stormstate has really shifted. We used to have a significant amount of experimental beers, leaning heavily into sour beers because that's what we enjoy drinking. But lately we found that our tastes and our clientele's tastes have definitely shifted away from sour beers. And now we're leaning heavily into the lagers because that's something that we really enjoy to drink. And so we're able to experiment with that, and we're having fun with that. So creating new series around that. So we have our London series, and so that ranges from things that are very easy to drink. We have a 4% lager. We had a 2% lager in dry January. We have our regular 5% lager that's always available in-house. We've been able to play with dark lagers, been able to play with dry hop lagers, and then also pulled IPAs, which are lagers that are hopped like a West Coast style IPA. So we've been able to experiment and enjoy those styles of beers that are also very approachable to newcomers into the craft beer scene, but also people in London seem to enjoy easy drinking beers. There's a reason that Labatt 50 is one of the most enjoyed beers in the city. We've been able to approach easy drinking drinkers to craft beer, and once we get them hooked, we've been able to allow them to experiment with other styles, whether that be an Irish red, whether that be an English bitter, or a pale ale.
Feels like Stormstate has a really unique and very different vibe. Where did the idea of the vision come from?
I mean, like, one of the main ideas behind this brewery was to be community focused. We wanted to attract those people in our neighborhood. We want our local people to be invested in us. And that's why our choice of beers are often not necessarily the most hype or the most exciting all the time. So it's why you'll often find a British or an Irish style beer, not because that is the most sought after, but it's one of the most easy to drink.
Sure.
And allows for neighbors to come and talk to neighbors and over a pint of beer.
We'll be back downtown soon, but let's head east of Adelaide to Forked River, the brewery that kicked off the modern craft revolution in London. This industrial park location breaks the mold of simply being a tap room by also having a vinyl sharing program, live music, a pool table, pinball, and is home to local favorite Kyle's Fried Chicken and an awesome barrel program.
I don't even think I ever visited London in my life until you were open.
Yeah, I mean, why? It was Labatt's. It was the
Yeah.
Seeps
Yeah.
and doing their thing. But that was it. And I mean, when Milos was opening, we sat down because we were starting to plan at that point. We talked to Adil and to Milos and Nick and said, we're opening up. That's awesome. Like, finally, somebody's doing it. But we were like planning the brewery. I was in the hospital with my daughter kind of thing. And Gambrinus was shutting down. We're like, holy crap, what are we going to do? That's like our number one customer. They're shutting down. And then luckily, I mean, they opened up kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see them transitioning over to a space now. And then it was like a year pretty much to the day we rolled our first kegs into Milos's.
Let's talk barrels.
Barrels. I've got one that's not barreled, but it's a fun one because it's a completely wild. I figure we can start with that because it's not as funky. But it's sort of a collab we've done for like 4 or 5 years with Hemans. So it's a spontaneous fermentation. There's no yeast in it. It's very similar to our blonde wort that we start out with.
Okay.
A little bit lower hopping level just to not inhibit anything. And then we dump in tons of fruit. This one was raspberries and strawberries from Hemans.
What's Hemans?
Hemans is a local berry producer, farm, garden center. They do kind of everything. Awesome, family owned. This was their 60th anniversary. Wow. But really cool guys, like 10 minutes away from us. So this guy here we call it Fred Sauvage. Sauvage meaning wild in French.
Right.
It's about, in like 1,100 liters, there's about 350 pounds of fruit that go into it. And whatever is present on the fruit is what ferments it out. And the first year we did it was like, it was awful for a long time. It didn't really sour. It was all strawberries. Like, what have we done? We just tossed a whole bunch of really expensive fruit in. And then it started souring, and the fruit came through, and it was awesome. So this is kind of like summer in a glass kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Oracle is probably one of the earlier barrel-aged beers we did. It's our Trinity, which is a Belgian triple. Straight up triple, and then aged on Chardonnay barrels. So it sits on fresh Ontario VQA Chardonnay barrels, lets it go tart. The funkiness kind of comes through, which kind of really, I think, complements and works with that spicy pepperiness you get from a Belgian triple.
Yeah.
So we have that here, and we have 2 spin-offs of that, which one was then blended with Gewürztraminer and Chardonnay to give sort of boost the wininess a bit, give a little bit of sweetness. And then the obviously more red version is blended with Merlot and Pinot Noir.
But so you've got, the kettle sours and the fruited sours that they do over at Storm State, and Justin's really good at those. I think Shook is an awesome series. And then it's nice over here, like Dave and Andrew are doing totally different types of sours. So you've got kind of both ends of the sour spectrum in London right here.
The unique thing with there's quite a few breweries all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But everybody's doing their own thing.
Yeah,
They're
which
all
is
a little
good.
bit different.
Heading west leads to a cluster of breweries including Anderson Craft Ales, an expansive brewery and tap room that does right by classic beer styles. It's a cavernous space that almost feels like an airplane hangar. Head upstairs and have a beer on the mezzanine for great views of the brewery.
I'm seeing them all in rapid succession. And all the breweries have carved out their own kind of identities. Storm is a particular kind of tap room. Beerlab is very compact, downtown. Forked is an expansive industrial style tap room. I look at your beer list and it's kind of like you sort of represent a lot of classic stuff. A broad range of styles, nothing too out there, nothing too basic either. Would that be fair to say?
I think, if I had to just sum it up, really, I would just say we brew stuff that we like to drink. So it's myself and the 3 other brewers that every time it's time for new beer, we just take turns picking them. So it's always, every beer that comes out is something that one of us wanted to make or wanted to drink. And so it ends up being pretty classic styles, I think, a lot of the time. Especially all summer, it's just like lager, because that's all that we want. And then winter is a couple darks and stouts. Just want to make what we want to drink.
The vibe, though, I thought, whether it was or wasn't purposeful, you were the second major brewery in London, obviously. Forked was there, and then when Anderson opened, and when you walked into the tap room and you saw the cans and the labels, it was different, right? It felt different from Forked. It was so nice that it was different, and that's kind of been the theme of the trip so far. Is Beerlab feels different, and Stormstate feels different, and Powerhouse feels different. So I really loved it when you guys opened up shop here in London, here in my hometown.
A block away is London Brewing, whose history was a homebrew co-op and is now a traditional brewery. It's a large, lively space with cornhole on the patio and a live music stage. Kudos for the sound padding blocking off the brewhouse. Close by is Powerhouse Brewing, part of the immense 100 Kellogg Lane development that's being built into the old Kellogg's cereal plant. It's a place of staggering scale, blending entertainment, gaming, hospitality, a hotel and more into a massive space. The first brewery is in the former Power Building, with a wide range of house beers, an on-site barbecue takeaway, and remnants of the original factory adorning the walls. A second brewery concept is on the way soon. Up in Old North, right in the middle of the neighborhood, is Bungalow, a cozy little pub that ironically has 2 stories. It's got a nice draft list and worth a stop in. Let's head back downtown and explore a bit more. You're drenched in old school charm when you enter Chaucer's, the pub side of Marienbad that's been open since 1974. Milos worked here in days gone by, and it keeps a vintage beer lineup that's heavy on Belgian and Euro bottles and taps. 50-year-old bars are a rarity these days, so give it a stop. In the popular nightlife area Richmond Row lies Toboggan, a large brewery and restaurant with a focus on brewing classic styles, with a dozen or so guest taps. It's a nice respite from some of the wilder bars on the strip, which includes the London OG brewpub Seeps with its expansive patio, Barney's. And one of my surprise favorites from the trip is Holy Diver, so much so that they have a totally unexpected side pull tap amongst rock posters, vintage movies, and pop culture kitsch. A stone's throw from the train station, so it makes for an easy first or last stop if you visit by rail. I really like London. It was a fun-filled, beery visit, and many special thanks go to brewer Stephen Rich, who co-hosted our brewer conversations and generously showed me around town. We met lots of folks, and everyone we encountered became fast friends. And with a good beer and food scene we barely scratched the surface of. That's a winning combination in my books. Keep London top of mind for your next beer sojourn. It'll be worth it.